We took a week break, but all for your viewing pleasure. In fact, there was a tiny glitch in our system this last week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gloves Off podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Super Smash Brothers and Super Smash Brothers accessories. I, as always, is one of your fabulous co-hosts, MHG Koopa, and joined as always to the Yoshi, to my Mario, as I jump off your back to make it over the ditch. It's Mr. Chris CX. What's up, man?
Not too much, man. I like that in what was it, Yoshi's Island, we like switch roles. That's kind of a cool thing for us.
I dig it. That's quite interesting. And
Also, I'm
speaking,
but before you go, I'm gonna insist that you call yourself the host and the co-host because it's kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? Like you're doing
you're right.
you're doing the openings and you
We're,
do
we're done.
a damn good job at that.
Thank you. I try every day. It's the
Er,
it's the only job throughout my week I can do without having to put real pants on. So
God
I
bless.
greatly appreciate it. Yeah. And speaking of Yoshi's Island, we are here talking to the man that hails from Yoshi's Island. Unfortunately for him and to his chagrin, it's Frank in the car as always, Mr. Hangman. What's going on, man?
How's it going, everybody? Frank in the car here. Although, new update from the car, there's not one, but two stray alley cats that pay me a visit at work.
Oh shit.
That's actually pretty
This
hype.
has been a very exciting development, because at first I thought it was a raccoon, because I know there's at least one raccoon who I've named Fat Boy. But it wasn't Fat Boy.
Dude,
It
he
was
might be
Cat.
resentful of that. You gotta be careful.
He might be. He scared me down while eating potato chips the other day, so we
He
both
could
know
be
of each other's existence.
he could be a listener. You have to be very careful.
Oh,
If he is, I expect scathing raccoon noises coming in the
I just
voicemail.
I picture his like feet kicked up and just like in an alley, just like somehow watching this on like almost like a tube device, like a tube TV that's just like old that he found in the dumpster. Somehow while we're recording this not live, he's like tapped into our yeah. I don't know, man. Animals doing all kinds of crazy things these days.
Our
I don't know.
Wikipedia page is about to get weird.
We have a Wikipedia page.
Not yet, but when we do, oh man.
It is a matter of time, man. I think this is the episode that'll put us on the map, dude. We got good material today.
Yeah, today we have a lot to discuss. It's been quite a busy time since the last time you guys brought the podcast around.
Yeah, so let me just recap really quickly what has happened in the last week. Justin won a monthly with Joker. Good on him. Terry Bogard got out of the Smash officially, and so did Banjo. And this is just picture me hanging on the rim really quick as I accurately predicted Shin Megami Tensei X Fire Emblem getting ported to the Switch. Just wanna point that out that I called that from a mile away, and I'm gonna hold on to that shit for the rest of my life.
Picture me on the rim. I'm literally picturing you like hanging on like after a dunk, like your tongue's
Yes,
out. Yeah, that's pretty.
perfect.
It's good image.
Nailed it. Yeah, so a lot has happened since that last week. We can talk about that another time because that's here and gone. Banjo sucks. Just want to bring that out there. But we can talk about
Banjo
that.
does not suck. Counter
He does.
argument.
So we'll get there when we get into the meat and potatoes of things. But it's not even has it been an interesting last week. It's been an interesting last couple of days. As you can see by what we highlighted to start with, we're going to talk about something that's very close to the people's hearts. And Chris, why don't you actually show the people what we're actually going to talk about at the
Oh,
gate right now?
all right. Let me. Damn.
There we go. So it has been a long 24, 48 hours as good old friend and tri-state commentator extraordinaire and tournament organizer, Pokemon master slasher slash rapper, whatever the fuck his Twitter handle says. Max Ketchum has set the Twitter world ablaze once again with the who will win in the fight between 1 billion lions and the entirety of the Pokemon roster. And I gotta say, number one, the fact that we all fell for this a second time is absolutely astounding. But number two, Max is like an advertising master because if this is all just a clever plan for him to bring to light that Let's Make Bigger Moves or Let's Make Big Moves was announced today, the sequel to Let's Make Moves. He is a genius, but also like the people have been talking. Like Chris just scrolled down his Twitter page, but Jay Witz, Pokemon God, like saw the tweet and it was just like I got to make a video about this. So like I want to know exactly where Chris. I'm just gonna put you right on the stand right now. Where do you stand?
Dude, Pokemon roster free. Come on. Let's be real here. Dude,
Okay,
all right. So like, I get it. So you got Pokemon. They all got all these crazy abilities. Some of them are massive and flying, and some in the ocean. And then you have like a billion lions. And the only argument that I've heard about a billion lions is like that a billion's a really big number. And I'm like, it is.
Have you counted the amount of zeros in a billion?
Dude, there's I'm not here to dispute that a billion's a big number because a billion, it's a big number. It's a big number, fellas.
That number's fucking huge.
It's a big number, fellas. But like, I don't know. Pokemon literally have like God on their side and all these things that invalidate lions that fly and have wings. Like,
Listeners, I'm just saying, there are numerous lion Pokemon. The Pokemon cannot trust those in their own ring.
so that was my main concern. That was my main concern because I'm wondering if like Pokemon have like team attack on because a lot of the strategies I heard to take out lions were like either drown them or do something, and I'm just like, okay, well if something like drowns them like whatever, then like how many other Pokemon die in the process of that? Like I don't think a Weedle is gonna make it out of like that. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, but otherwise, Pokemon free, absolutely. Why? What do you guys think? You think the Lions win? You can't think.
A billion's a big ass fucking number, Chris.
Yeah, but like, okay, so there's a lot of parameters that need to be set. There's a lot of parameters. So first of all, I don't know. Is this like a war of attrition? Like, how long does this last? Like, are these lions spread out? Or are they just...
They're not allowed to time out the lions. That would be cheating.
Well, no, so I imagine it being to the death, and I think that's reasonable. I just wonder over what course, because like, is it like a billion like lions across the world? Is it like how what's the battlefield like? You know what I mean?
Well,
okay.
It's obviously
What's the
Africa.
Landscape? All right,
could it be Africa, or could it be on like a neutral playing field? Like, what if it happened to like Gillette Stadium?
All right, you know what? I got an idea. How many?
You're about to fit a billion lions in Gillette Stadium. Do you know how much a billion is, Koopa?
Hold on. First of all, I got to see how many people live in the U.S. First of all, hold on here. No, because for spatial reasons, how many people live in the U.S. Perfect.
At least like I'm gonna say like 7 billion, 3.7.
So
oh my god,
that's a lot of people. So it's not even close really to a billion, I guess.
All right, so we've defaulted to Europe.
All right, how many people live in? Hold on
Asia.
Earth?
That's
how many people live on Earth? Okay, how about that? Okay, there we go. So 7.3. I'll try Europe. Hold on. I need something.
Yeah, it has to be Asia. It has to be Asia.
Asia. All right, let's do that. Okay.
There we fucking
so
go.
A quarter of Asia, basically, just lions, straight up. Nothing else, just lions, right? That's the rules essentially.
Sure, yes.
Okay.
That's a lot of Asia.
All right. Well, all I'm saying is if you're seeing like Arceus float above you or like Lugia or anything that could just like freeze you to death, then okay. So I understand that like Pokemon have like PP and that might go away, but if this is a thing like where the Pokemon kind of just like it's like several days, weeks, months, however long this battle takes, like they kind of just like fly over, expend all their power, and then just go to like sleep or something. It's not like a lion can like get them wherever they fly to. Like I don't know, man. I know some people talked about lion ladders. Like I understand that.
Do you even understand the science behind lion ladders, Chris?
I still don't. Hazard's tweet is actually my favorite one.
See, like what are you guys doing? Look, they look like they're gonna die. Like they can't do anything on a ladder. Like dude, they're not gonna touch them. This is like, come on.
First of all,
oh my fucking
lions can either stand on all fours or on their hind legs. Do you know how tall that lion ladder would be if they're all on their hind legs?
Yeah, but they can't balance, dude. They're fucking lions. Like, what are they gonna do?
And then you have a billion lions falling on you.
You know what happens?
You thought you could handle them attacking. What if it's raining lions?
What's Squirtle's move, the withdrawal or whatever, where he just like bashes into you with a shell? Like, dude, all he does that is to the bottom line, and the whole ladder is compromised. Like, it's that simple. And that's a fucking turtle.
But then there's like hundreds of dead Pokemon. Like lions are incredibly heavy. I'm just saying. I'm not speaking from experience, but
so what's the Pokedex at now? It's like
790 something.
Yeah.
800.
So okay,
it's
so
like
one Squirtle sacrifice, and you have the evolutions right thereafter. Like obviously, there's gonna be casualties. Like we all know that. That's the whole point. But I don't know,
I'm just saying. Like if we're just assuming there's just one of every Pokemon, then I would assume that like there's at least like enough lions to use as fodder. before eventually like someone will like oh my fucking god.
This picture.
It's just so fucking funny.
That's a lot
On
of lions,
average.
though. It's a lot of lions.
I just really like that like Has made a really great tweet with like he used a picture from Tailspin like out of context, which is so fucking funny.
Wait, is this one?
Yeah, it's a picture. It's a picture of like one of the I forget what the name of the character is.
I forget
But
too.
like she's holding a sign that says "Land, you idiot," so I can strangle you, and it's so fucking funny.
That's basically what it is, man. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
The fact that this happened a second time on the internet is actually mind blowing to me. Like Max
Well,
is truly.
There's a new age of people to get baited into lion ladders.
That is true. I'm one of those people, man. I'm Team Lion Ladder. I don't care if that means I ride a certain bus to school every day. Like these lions are crafty. You know, they can make the lion boat. They can make a giant lion. Like there's endless possibilities.
Whoa, 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 whoa. We can't play by Voltron rules. That's cheating.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like they don't just morph into some big lion. Like they're just like there's a bunch of lions standing at each other, and that they don't even have the capacity to do that mentally. Like they're just like, you know, just run at you.
Oh no,
and, like,
see, there's
jump
a
at
lion
you.
hive mind. Otherwise, that's cheating.
This is absolutely insane.
All I'm gonna say, dude, is like all you really need for this argument. Forget about all of the legendaries, which would any one of them would body like any number of those Pokemon. Like you have Arceus, who's just like literally alters space and time. Like, come on.
People forget that Arceus isn't even legally obtainable in his own game, so I'm just saying. I love that someone's actually using pictures of the lions. That's actually incredibly funny. The Detroit Lions definitely could not get the job done.
Nah, they're
Stafford
dying. Dude. They're gonna
very
die
disappointing.
frame one water pump, and they're just like
Undefeated though. 0-1-1. 1-0-1. Just saying.
1-0. Oh
Big
yeah,
fan.
yeah, big fan. Anyways,
I
don't know, dude. This is probably the best argument I've seen on Twitter in a while. So
I'm just saying a billion's a big fucking number.
that is the
all-
best
all I'm
argument.
gonna
That's
fly by.
literally the best argument. I love it.
If we could also use this as an excuse to talk about the fact that everyone's favorite wild duck Pokemon got an evolution revealed officially yesterday.
Yeah, what's it called?
Surfetched.
Surfetched. Well, that's brilliant,
So,
dude.
leading up to this thing's tease, I have been calling it Sir Duckin, and I'm very disappointed that that's not his real name.
That would actually be
That's
fantastic.
pretty good.
Wow. Dude, the amount of people that didn't think to like turn the picture on its side, like once they saw how long that big ass green thing was actually astounding. Like you can very clearly see what the fuck it is if you just turn the picture 180 degrees. So
Look at this guy, dude. His
it's
like
fucking cool.
that bamboo. It almost looks like it almost looks like a banana peel. It got like a little onion on the end there. He does look
Yeah,
pretty,
leaks are.
he looks cool. I agree.
What's really cool is that if you look very closely at the shield he's holding, it's actually the top of the leak just cut off.
Whoa.
If you
Yeah,
look,
I
like,
guess I
very
didn't look that
closely at it.
closely.
Yeah.
Farfetch learned
so-
how to use the entire onion, and so he became enlightened.
He became a knight.
Look at his. He's got like
A
little
lancer.
He's got like a smug face. He's definitely like pretty sure. He's like, yeah, I figured out this thing.
Oh, with those eyebrows?
Oh,
That
yeah.
duck is coming at you with facts and logic, my guy.
I'm just like trying to wrap my mind around it because number one, like the hype behind Sun and Moon Sword and Shield has been very lukewarm. I'd say Pokemon fans are very like I'm not sure how they're receiving this, but this Pokemon looks fucking sick. This is definitely my favorite of the new Pokemon revealed so far. Like
I could
number
agree.
one, like it ditches. It's. I think it's one of the first, or like one of like two families of Pokemon that completely drops the type combination when it evolves. Like it goes from normal flying to a pure fighting type, which is fucking insane. Number two, it's fucking Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is fucking sick.
Yeah,
And
he's a
number.
he's a kind of cool guy.
I don't like that he's a Sword exclusive because the Sword exclusives have been kind of shitty. But you know, hey, I was originally a man of where Gumi goes, but I don't know. Surfetch might change me. Kind of feeling it.
Yeah, dude, he's ready to go. He's focused. He's got like an expression of sorts. Look at him just
For
running
anyone
there.
who's savvy with Pokemon history, Farfetch was supposed to have an evolution, at least according to like concept art and Pokemon that never came out. So the fact that he's finally got one, and it looks fairly different from what the concept art had described his evolution as being. It's nice.
So, okay,
Especially for people that have liked Farfetch'd for so long.
So look at this guy and tell me he's not going to impale, like, at least 2 lions at once.
Oh, he's running through like 5 of them, but then he's getting eaten by like a cub.
All right, well that's 5.
So-
So what's a billion minus 5? So just keep doing that math, and then you get to the god Pokemon and the legendaries, and they take out like several 100,000. Or no, it's got to be more than that. They're taking out millions, dude. They're taking out millions.
On average, every Pokemon needs to take 1.3 million lions.
Yeah, but okay.
That's a lot of lions.
You know what? Here, I'm gonna do this the easy way because I'm not gonna lie to you. My Pokemon knowledge isn't as good as it used to be. I'm not gonna front. But like, I don't know, dude. Look at these guys. You're gonna tell me that a billion lions just standing there waiting to be slaughtered. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. These things are coming from space and shit. Literally outer space, guys. Outer space.
For people who have argued in favor of Pokemon, no one has brought up what I think is the easiest argument. And it's the one where the Pokemon don't have to do anything. There's a Pokemon called Cofagrigus. It's the evolved form of Yamat. It's a sarcophagus. And he's got an ability called Mummy. And if he gets hit, he gives the ability to his opponent. It's implied that they're getting mummified. Now, when that thing makes contact with another Pokemon, it does the same thing. It just keeps on passing on the ability Mummy. In theory, and this is accepting Max's logic that biting is a dark-type Pokemon move, one lion just needs to bite Cofagrigus, and every lion forever gets mummified.
Oh, wow. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, so
But
that's several.
That's cheating.
So, all right, but here's the deal. Like, how does a lion even touch, like, a Gengar or, like, a Ghastly? It doesn't, dude. Those things are going to do such psychological trauma to those things. They're just going to be, like, they're going to be ruined. And that could happen in mass. That happens in mass because they're psychic.
You're not allowed to bully the lions.
Yeah, but it's a fight to the death.
Yeah, but that's cheating,
The street
Chris.
rules, kid.
Are you a cheater?
I'm not a Pokemon, but if I was and I had to take out a billion lions, I'd be doing some like psychological warfare, man. I mean, you see like I don't know, there's Genjutsu, like Itachi does all that stuff to all his opponents all the time in Naruto. Like, dude, this is how it goes. Fight to the death.
It's absolutely amazing.
Come on. Let's be real here, huh?
Oh,
Guys gotta wake up. Sorry, just joking.
honestly, you're right. I'm definitely not woken up to this. And like, once there's official content and like presidential debates like about this as a topic, like I will have my third eye open as far as it humanly can. But you know, as we continue on in our week, let's talk about the big event that happened this past weekend that myself and Hangman were in attendance for. So we're gonna get talking on Glitch 7 minus World, the Schmay tier, like the A+ tier, A- tier, whatever the hell you want to call it. A tournament that happened this weekend at Xanadu Games in Laurel, Maryland, featuring not only Super Smash Brothers, it also featured Rivals of Aether. It was a Mario themed event, as you can tell by the name. So Glitch going for a motif, flying out several Mario mains of the Mushroom Kingdom. So lots of Plant, lots of Bowser, much to many people's chagrin. Not mine, because I think those characters are fucking sick. So the event happened this weekend. So I'll start with Frank. How was your Glitch experience?
So my Glitch experience felt very strange. First and foremost, this was my first time attending Xanadu Games in the dawn of Ultimate, as the last time I was there was quite a while ago when it wasn't nearly as prepared of a venue. And with that, I was not nearly expecting it to be as spacious. I was expecting the first third of the venue to be all that was there, because that's all I would remember from the last time I was there. So I was like, how are they fitting nearly 600 people in that space? And then it turned out there was just double that space behind the venue by way of like a ballroom-esque space, which was really nice. There was a ton of setups for friendlies. There was no complications when it came to having enough setups for bracket. the multiple brackets that ran at that between squad strike and singles and doubles. But it felt too spacious, which is a really weird complaint, I guess, because it's not a bad thing. But at no point did it feel like Tri-State was like a unified force. It didn't really feel like anyone was rooting on for the boys back home, which that's the first event in a long time where I could say I felt.
That's an interesting take, especially considering that, like, even at SmashCon, like, you got to see a lot of that, what you're describing.
What I think what I think that equates to is just like what Frank said. I don't think it's too much space. I think it's just a lot of like confined areas. Like when you're in like a big open space, like it's way easier to like find people. But there's like a lot of like there's a lot of corridors to the glitch venue itself. Like that ballroom in the back is huge, and there's also just like big segments in the tournament space that are just like you're definitely far and spread out. And we were also sharing the venue with another like game, obviously. So I don't know. I do agree. Something definitely felt a little off about like the companionship in that respect, but we still showed up as always. Hey, yeah. So like my glitch experience felt. Uh, I had a good time. I'm not gonna say that I didn't. This is like my third or fourth time at the new Xanadu venue, and I love it. It's like it's a fun drive. It's a the venue's really nice. It's sick. There's plenty of places to play friendlies at. Like there is so much space, and the venue, like I said, is sick. Production was the production had its hit or hit misses, but it definitely hit more than it didn't. Uh, event wise, things like the top eight was fun to listen to on my drive home because it did not stay for top eight. But everything leading up to that was fine. The top eight of rivals was something to watch in person. I understand that had some qualms to it too, but
Yeah,
I always have I always have a good time at Xanadu. They're always really good to me, and Tant and Gimmer like always and company always put on like a really good show in the end, and it looks like they were very receptive to the feedback. They were looking for the feedback, and it's funny that we talked about Pokemon today, but the next glitch was announced MLK weekend, which is also going to be Pokemon themed, so that's going to be a lot of fun as we eventually close into that debate. But with every tournament, there's always problems and there's always setbacks. So I'll start with Frank because I feel like a lot of the bigger setbacks happened with the rival stuff.
Yeah, I would agree in just that the problems that were with the rivals community and how the rivals whole half of glitch was handled definitely felt like larger than in most situations, especially for the rivals of Aether community, which typically doesn't get attached to events like this. Like most notably is Frostbite or SmashCon, and those events are usually very well received from the rivals, as they typically like follow a lot of standards with rivals. But one thing that was very unique to Rivals at Glitch was that the entire event was best of three leading into. Now, that's not too out of the ordinary, at least in the context of Smash. But for Rivals, this is almost unheard of. Every major event for quite some time has had top 32, or at very least top 16 as best of five. And majority of that also gets streamed. Now, obviously, there's only so much that you could stream given how much Smash action there was going on. But there was a lot of complaints about the fact that pools weren't streamed to any capacity for Rivals of Aether. And on top of that, a lot of pools ran late. A lot of that having to do with with players being in both brackets, which you could only help that so much. But I heard that some brackets were held up by upwards of an hour. And for an event that had, I believe, 90-something people after DQs and whatnot, that's pretty bad. Additionally, like as you had mentioned, watching Rivals of Aether top 8 in person wasn't bad. It was a fun experience. But for the stream, I imagine it was a little bit more frustrating, as I heard the stream went down several times, delayed a lot of things, and generally speaking, a lot of Rivals players weren't too happy with it. They made themselves very vocal, though, and as you mentioned, the Xanadu team, very receptive to that criticism, so good on them for at least making sure it bounced back.
So I was just noticing the amount of, I know we're talking about Rivals, but the amount of side events at Glitch, what were they? It just looks like it says like speed runs and stuff.
So the speedrunning brackets, as they were called, was just like small single elimination brackets that were themed, as in like what characters you could play as, and whoever had won the most of them got some sort of prize. That individual happened to be Kofi. Um, Long Island notoriety was part of my carpool,
Yeah.
my band of goons. And they were just, fun single limb brackets, whereas like you could play as only the animal characters or only the third party characters, so on and so forth.
That's kind of neat. And for anyone who is maybe a little unfamiliar with the Glitch series or really hasn't watched the Glitch before, that's kind of like their thing. Like they do like a lot of, I noticed, like kind of offside events. I remember a couple years ago, I forget which glitch it was. Maybe it was like 5 or whatever. I see they have amiibo brackets here, but there was like a big focus on amiibo brackets at one point, and they kind of just do like I don't want to say weird events, but maybe just some of the off the usual trail events, which is funny because go ahead.
Yeah, it's just meant to be like a celebration of like Smash stuff that doesn't get a big focus during larger events, which is neat. It makes for a really good in person.
Yeah, I could definitely appreciate that. But yeah, it's a shame to see, I guess, Rivals run not amazing. And I'm trying to think, like, as someone who's, like, watching some of the stream, I guess, like, what stream mostly, if not Rivals? I know, obviously, there was, like, Smash Pools, and, there's doubles at one point when there's singles going on and stuff like that. Like, I'm just crazy. And then I think that stream died at one point, I heard. Something like that.
A
Yes.
few of the streams died at a few points.
Oof, that feels bad, man. I could actually, I feel like I have secondhand pain hearing that because there's nothing worse than getting like technical difficulties, especially when you're trying to host like a big event. And this was I guess shortly after. I guess this is the big topic. I mean, we don't want to get into the event tiers entirely yet, but I guess like the stream died, and then like it turned out like the event, which was advertised as like S tier, then it got demoted. Like there was a lot to unpack from this tournament, quite honestly.
Yeah,
There's like a
we
lot
can
here.
we can get to that like in a bit because like I do agree that the scheduling was rough. I I I credit a lot of it to the fact that morning rush always kind of sucks for a tournament. Like it always kind of sets you back on the wrong foot. Like it's one thing if it's like 20 minutes or however many minutes, but like when all your side events are running at once and like also multiple players entering all the side events, it doesn't help the cause either. So like, I know there's people that are playing like 2 pools at once. Like I was late to a commentary block by like 10 minutes because I decided to play a meme team in Squad Strike and win 2 sets, which is a fucking blessing. Shout out to those guys.
That's fun.
Dude, it was hilarious. I tried so hard to sandbag, but I was fucking 3-stocking people with the Belmonts. It was hilarious. But like that, it's just like the scheduling was a little bit rough, and obviously like the rival stuff didn't help either. And I know at one point like they held up an entire side of full streams like rivals pool because they literally couldn't play anything else, but he was still playing I think ultimate pools or something like that. So that was a rough one. Obviously the internet problems like sucked. Like that's just an uncontrollable factor. But what I do like is that the everyone was incredibly receptive of like the criticism, and I think Xanadu's they care a lot for the scene. They've done a lot for the scene, and I think like VG in general is gonna listen to that and they're gonna really take a lot of it to heart. So hopefully the next glitch kind of irons out that stuff, and I'm excited for it. As a top 8 of the Smash 4 event was great, and as we alluded to previously, the event was won by ESAM, which I don't think a lot of people were expecting. But
I mean, I wasn't.
ESAM's one of it's weird. ESAM's one of those people where like if he has the right bracket, if he has the right path of people in front of him, then I think like he either gets like top 8s consistently, or he'll like we've seen the bad of ESAM where he gets like 33rd or 49th or something like that. Like it happens sometimes, but he had a really good bracket in front of him. Avoiding Sam Sora was obviously a big one for him, and he also got a favorable matchup in both winter and grands. I think Pikachu's always done really well against the Space Animals. As we take a look at the top 8 graphic in front of us, obviously the Buzz cleaning things up. He's had a bit of a rough end of the summer, but has finished strong with both Shine and now this with a 3rd place. Nairo coming in 4th place, continuing that streak of consistency. Sam Sora and Tweak finishing in 5th place respectively. Tweak using Banjo for a good portion of the singles bracket, and but not a whole lot on Sunday except to beat Dark Wizzy, and I guess near the end on ESAM on on Sunday, and then Dark Wizzy and Wadi finishing out in 7th place. Wizzy continuing to be really good at back-to-back top 8 finishes at S tiers, and Wadi continuing to be the MDVA homer as good as he is. As we take a look at the 9th places and the 13th, Jacqueline and Jen both finishing out in the top 12 again. So good job to those guys. Void and ZD also rounding out the top 12 portion, and that top 16 portion going to Cosmos, Leon, Salem, and Wishes. So Tri-State littered all over this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
an MDVA event. You got your main MDVA man's holding it down, and then Tri-State kind of trickling outside the top 8. It's weird how that works.
Yeah, you were gonna say something, Frank?
I was just gonna say, if you look at the top 96 of this event, a lot of it is like a lot, and it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely consistent now at the very least. But regardless, that top 8, it's got all the big players you want to see. And honestly, like seeing Light come in second is kind of nice because I know he could like, on occasion just sort of like not do super well. Nairo's like slowly but surely creeping his way up to consistently top 4 placing versus like where he was kind of like finishing 7th, I guess, a lot, or like 5th, kind of can't break past it. But man, he's kind of been the picture of consistency, honestly, if not improving. You already mentioned DeBuzz Koopa, but the one thing about DeBuzz is I have noticed like he's been steadily and consistently getting better too. He's just like I don't know. I don't know if he's getting a better handle. I don't know if it's having the Rosa secondary or if he's just getting a little more comfortable against some of the people he's playing. But regardless, like he's been just doing a lot better recently. And it's kind of seeing Sam drop a little. There's definitely some patterns though that are interesting here.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's definitely the players are peaking more than they are right now. But obviously, like, there's some other players that you just remember are really good, but sometimes just have bad weekends. And I think Esam, like I said, is the epitome of that. And this is his first like huge major win like ever. I think. Like, I don't think he's ever won a dance this big before. And I was stoked for him. Like, I know Easton's a very polarizing like figure in the community, but he's a really good friend of mine, and I'm obviously like super stoked for him and for Pikachu in general because I've always had these very high thoughts about Pikachu. Like, I think Pikachu is probably the best character in the game on paper. Like, if you just kind of look at everything the way that it stacks out. But I don't know. I think the big thing, obviously, is the fact that you find out after the fact that the tournament was stripped of its S tier status because of an entrant count. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
So this opens up the top. Yeah, actually, yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead, Frank.
This is a really weird situation that don't like. All right, follow me on this. I'm kind of glad that it happened, but in the way that it forces us as members of the community to like look before we speak about something. So Practical Task had spoken as the graphic was released by PG Stats about how and why it dropped to a high-ranking A tier event instead of an S tier, and it had to do with once the DQs came in. And I feel like that's something that we could notice during the tournament, but no one bothered to, and no one corrected. So we all just kept going off without it
being an S tier, yeah. So so you guys could help me out with this one because I think the main thing was who was it that dropped? It was a couple. I think it mostly came down to a couple. What was it? PGR players that dropped.
Stroder and Elegant.
Okay, so Stroder and Elegant basically, I guess those were the two major hitters, and this is based off the PG. I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight this PG event tiers thing because we're talking about it. So the way it works is like the way the PGR event tiers work are you need to have a certain number of entrants and or a certain amount of PGR players. So just having those two guys alone drop apparently changed it to however PG stats works. There are statistical measures. Yeah, it dropped it down a level, and that's based off of like 2 players. Because I know after like all the player drops, how okay, this is what I need help with. How many people DQ'd from Momocon? Because Momocon was an S tier, correct?
Like 1,260 people, I think.
Yeah, like actually, I think Biddy like got into this on Twitter about how Momocon had so many DQs that if it were valued the same way that we value things too, it would end up being like a mid to low ranking A tier, if that. but the PGR hasn't said anything about retroactively changing.
So that,
MomoCon remains in it.
So yeah, that's the interesting thing because, and I guess MomoCon came in what in what we're calling the first season here for PG stats, where things were mostly just measured off of just raw entrant numbers. Versus now, there's entrant numbers and there's also what players have entered makes an impact. So I could see that accounting for something, but the problem is no one really knows the secret sauce of the PG stats like statistics, so it just kind of gets confusing, quite honestly. And, obviously you had a lot of people. The event was advertised as an S tier, and that, at this point carries more weight than anything else as far as statistics go and why players come out because, the top 50 PGR spot is like the coveted thing. That's why a lot of people even play. So, you got people come out specifically for that, and then all of a sudden it's not that. And it just kind of, I guess, got a little weird, to put it bluntly.
To play devil's advocate, the PG Stats team has gone on the record saying that they don't recommend that tournament organizers advertise the ranking of an event. They let people do it because they can't tell people not to, but they don't recommend it because of this very reason.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The problem is, though, unless, and this is kind of just my opinion, if it's that big of a thing, like, I don't know, maybe they just need to be a little bit more transparent about how the statistics work, or maybe list some of the things that they go off of. Because I think, I don't know, I could tell you myself, because I was following it pretty closely. I'm just generally confused. I get that having a couple high-ranking players, PGR players from the first season, can affect the weight, but you're talking 2 entrants. I don't even think it has as much to do from the total amount of people that entered as much as it's just well, now we're 2 PGR players short. So now all the tournaments are now hell bent on just getting a certain amount of PGR players versus just getting people out in general. It's I don't know. It's sort of a tricky system.
Right. So I'm really glad you brought that up, Chris, because what I've been saying, I think this all falls back on one thing, and that the way that the tiering system is kind of scared now, it's a little too what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little bit too chaotic. Like the balance can be easily thrown off, one way or the other. It's sort of like if you've ever ridden a bike, where it's missing ball bearings to keep it balanced. It's just way too quickly to lean to one side or the other or not. It's the way that tournaments are tiered. Now, this PGR season is that it's very dependent on how many PGR players show up. Look at how these last few tournaments have kind of broken out into S tier status, being glitch, which is great, which makes sense. But then there's main stage, which is a little bit smaller in size, but also I think over 500 entrants and a good portion of the PGR. And then you have something like Thunder Gaming, which has a 60 entrant A tier tournament. It just shows that there's definitely a flaw in the system.
Huge flaw, dude.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. Yep, let's be upfront about it. It kind of sucks, man. There's no reason that because how do you develop areas then? How do you expect anything? I'm gonna say thank goodness that we just kind of grow them and raise them here in Tri-State New Jersey, and that's how we get PGR events. But if we didn't, how would we ever grow? How does that happen? You literally need to pander and to fly out people. It just seems like a very closed-off ecosystem as opposed to something that's conducive to growth. And I think that's where I trip up on it a little bit. Because in the end of the day, don't we just want more people to get popular so more people want to watch Smash and be involved? Isn't that how things grow in general? It just feels very closed off.
See, I feel like we're reaching a point very similar to the PGR at this point in time for Smash 4, where it's, contrary to the statement of being chaotic, I feel like it's almost developing into a solved, where even though the formula itself isn't public for how things become PGR ranked, how that rank forms, people are starting to develop a decent idea as who you need and of how much else you need to compensate for that. And I feel like as far as tournament organizers are concerned, you could game the system to appease the ranking.
Dude, you just need money. That's it. It's capital. And no shade on Thunder Gaming, man. It's cool they got the money to do these things, but essentially you work with PG Stats and you say, okay, help us get this to be a high-ranking tier tournament. Who do we need to get here? They tell you, and then you basically just fly them out, and it's that easy versus being okay, we're homegrown, trying to grow the Smash scene. just trying to attract people here, and like it all takes is 2 people to drop out. And even for like a VG Bootcamp, I mean, that's literally the biggest Smash content provider. They're the guys. So it's like seeing it happen to them. It's like, okay, what chance does it stand anywhere else, like making this stuff work? It's just I don't know. And I even saw like Gimmer was a little disheartened by it, which is like, yeah, he had a little bit of a Twitter rant, and understandably so. Like tournament like that takes a lot of effort, and then it just seems either you need more transparency or a little bit more clear, like here's how the rules work, or I honestly don't have an answer. It just seems like something's a little off.
I just like it just needs to be less of like a chaotic scaling system. Like it shouldn't be like, I don't know. It's so strange, like you said, because like there's going to be certain regions that thrive off of it. Because like look at where we're located in the country right now. Like, wow, what's the tier to make it to like A status again? Like I forget.
I don't even know where I could find this information, which is the worst part. I feel like this should be pretty easy to find.
If you wanted an A tier in the tri-state, in the Northeast, let's just boil it down to the Northeast. Because I've already done like the head math or something like this. You would need as simple as getting Mars, Light, DeBuzz, and Wishes in the same room, and then like 8 more people. And I think that constitutes like a mid-ranking B tier. Because PGR players are given a value, and by the PGR system, those players have more value than another individual. So you just need to pick and choose which ones and figure out the math.
So, right, because I know like a top 10 player carries more weight than say a top 50. And I forget what the actual number is. I feel like you need like 5 PGR players to even like begin a conversation ranking from 1 to 50. But if you have like a Tweak and like 2 players 40 to 50, you know, it's not going to make as difference as if you had like Tweak and like Nairo. And like it's just like there's a lot of weight, and to me, I feel like that always guarantees that the system, that the players don't really change there. You'll have a couple changes in the long run, but if it's always the same players carrying the same weight, like I just don't get how rankings ever change or stay any kind of true. I guess I just really don't understand like how, like what the goal is of the statistic system at this point. If you know what I mean, like if how do you ever drop off the list if you dictate the list? How do people rise up over that? Or players.
Yeah, like it's just gonna like completely throw the balance off for like certain regions of people, because like it's only gonna get easier for us when people like Jackal and Juice and
they have the opportunities here. Yeah, and that's the thing though, is like, but those players were nothing in Smash 4. Like that system was already established in Smash 4, but like we're such freaks in this area where we just grind and grind and grind. And all these guys are playing and practicing where they just got really good, and you know, like the classic See-Me and Ultimate, and that's what happened.
And the system is constantly changing. Like PG Stats used a different formula for like I think almost every season of the PGR, like to quantify like what counts as like, not even just for like tiered tournaments, but like what counts as a win, what doesn't count as a win. Like there needs to be a tweaking of the tournaments where like S tiers aren't as like incredibly easy. Like S tiers used to be like this prestigious thing, and I feel like any tournament could like get that high.
Well,
so, I feel like there needs.
You just pay for it. You literally just pay for it. Fly out Tweak, fly out Nairo, fly out DeBuzz, fly out Leo, like, and then you're good.
They need to make it not as easy to like accomplish, because like S tiers are obviously gonna like lose their. I don't want to say lose their shine, but like it's definitely gonna like become much easier to farm these sort of like big tournaments. So like I feel like there needs to be a way to like keep A tiers prestigious or like S tiers prestigious, but also like not keep other tiers like from like being obtainable. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Like,
well, the thing is, you already see with the invitationals. You guys already mentioned it earlier. That's it.
It's all about how you figure out gaming the system, and then until the system changes. So like, I could see by the end of V2 there being plenty of high-ranking A tiers, or us getting an unhealthy amount of S tiers, and then the goalpost gets moved in V3. But the damage is already done. Like whoever benefited from how the system's game 2 will just make it easier, so on and so forth. That's sort of how any static rank.
But that's the
Once you figure out how to abuse it, it just needs to get abused.
Like where is just like the old I don't know, man. I want something more like, I know ELO rankings are faulty, but where's just like raw statistics? Like why can't we just like go keep it simple? Yeah, I just feel like scaling things based off of like who's already kind of proved themselves in one season, and we know how many good players there are playing Ultimate right now. There's so many. I've even seen people petitioning like, well, why not have top 100? But it feels like top 50 is an issue just because of how the scaling works. But either way, I mean, we saw the Thunder Gaming, Yeah, what was it? It was an Arcadian, but was also like a whatever tier, and I'm like, that shouldn't even be possible because I remember, I forget if it was Swar or someone. I kind of asked like, can an Arcadian be? And he's like, well, no, just by being labeled an Arcadian, there's restrictions, therefore it doesn't count. But I'm like, okay, but so you could have an invitational Arcadian? Like, I just don't get it. Why does this work like this? I don't know.
It was
Yeah,
like
I
a
don't.
weird thing
Rubs
where
me the
the
wrong way.
Invitational was
To be straight
attached
up.
to an Arcadian. It was like, I don't know, man. I don't want
It's
to
like-
burn Thunder Gaming for their marketing.
Well, I
'cause,
don't blame
they're
Thunder
still
Gaming.
alive.
I want to put that out there. I don't blame them.
Well,
it's
that's
fine.
the thing is that like it's how they worded it that it's their fault that it's even an issue because the ranking doesn't stem from the Arcadian part, rather it stems from the invitation, and the Invitational was like a footnote to the Arcadian. But you wouldn't know that from how they advertised.
No,
or
of
how
course
they
not.
presented
It kind of came out of nowhere, and then the time before that was just the one where DeBuzz was getting handed thousands of dollars. Like it's just like that's still like one of the funniest things ever. That felt like a
beautiful
cheesy
image.
episode of like I don't know. It felt like a cheesy like Price is Right moment or something. And DeBuzz was like, oh yes, and then just like dumping money in his arms. Like ah. Anyways, that was probably one of my favorite images.
I don't know, man. I just love to see like a tweaking to the system, just like not make it's like
There's got it or a new
so
system,
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I'm cool with
and even
multiple
then,
systems.
and even then, like you shouldn't like adjust the goalposts like you said now when like a tournament like MomoCon still was able to maintain its S tier status, even though like everyone and their mom like dropped. Like there's just so many like poor excuses and like stuff like that. Like obviously there's a lot of mistranslated information as well, but like I feel like there definitely needs to be like a little bit more balance in the system because things are just a little screwy right now. So
yeah, I don't know.
The issue is that the PGR is trying to simultaneously be something that like presents information to a much broader audience, but is also trying to be like a neutral method of tracking stats.
when yeah,
and it really can't do both at the same time.
mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing is it's not neutral if it's catering towards a particular group. It is a tricky balance. Honestly, I think what will happen in the future, one of these guys who's really good at programming and statistics are going to find a way to actually just compile like a little bit more centralized, easy to view and look at statistics, and the rankings will kind of make themselves. It's just, I just, there's got to be more. I respect the fact, you want to raise viewership and get more people noticed. It just seems so like, it feels more like I'm watching like the WWF where there's just a certain stars, and then you see a new star here and there. I'm sorry, WWE, excuse me.
you're showing your age.
I was just going to say that, mofo. But anyways, dang it. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's like, okay, like we want to build characters, but we're also going to eliminate the thing that built the, kind of started how this worked in the first place. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Like the grassroots foundation, because now all of a sudden it's not grassroots. It's like, okay, accept these players that we deem are really good and are going to be basically the gods of this game, even before the game's even like a year old. And this is how it's going to work. Versus like, okay, let's just try and grow all the areas and see which people find their way at the top.
It's grassroots, but the grass grows like I don't know, like rose gold.
Yeah.
Like this is really expensive fucking grass or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess some people put a lot of money in their gardening, but anyways,
It can't be.
Chris, you had reminded me of something, and someone in particular. PG Stats is not the only group in the Smash scene that tracks stats.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Orion ranking, which
Orion
is it's a lot more of a like a by the numbers kind of deal, and it's not nearly as pretty, but it is another method of tracking player rankings. And let's say for argument's sake, someone just dumped a bunch of money into that, made it super presentable, super professional looking. What's to say that ranking isn't as valid or more valid than PG Stats?
I think that's what's going to happen, man. And I could even tell you straight up, because I've been looking for this for a while now in terms of just like really easy, like basic statistics just for the locals that we do here. Like monthly is like who beats who the most and like what head-to-head stats are like and maybe how it ranks. And I found them. They exist. Like these guys, like I'm going to give them a shout out because I just started talking to them. It's like Metascouter, for example. They basically work with databases. You guys have seen some of their work. already in like some of the big events, so I'm trying to find the examples. But basically, they've been in here like this. Like you've seen these at like Shine, where it tells you like, okay, here's the final score damage. It basically like tracks the stream essentially. I want more of this, is what I want, because then all of a sudden it's very numeric and very objective rankings. So it's like people are working on it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like what actually floats to the surface. All I could tell you is the current way the PG Stats system. I'm just not sure it's it. I don't even feel bad saying it because I don't think PG Stats is going to be watching this podcast. But in my opinion, I don't know, man. Something needs to be tweaked dramatically, especially when we introduce invitationals like that. That's like a huge red flag for me.
Yeah, there's always going to be something to tweak, and I'm sure like the criticism has been heard. Like I'm sure they'll try to do something, but also just saying, I technically, if they use the same qualifications for X Factor surveys as they do last season, I technically qualified. Just bringing that up there. Cough, cough. Commentated at two S tiers and an A tier this season. Thank you very much. I will accept my checks in payments of Monopoly money. But we move on. We move on to from one controversial step to another one, because as you see, we do have that actual third topic, not the other third topic we talked about. So something we've talked about at length at multiple times on the podcast, but it is relevant again. Number one, because it is soon to be Summit season, as I've already seen people campaigning and nominating themselves for Summit. And number two, as we've learned once again that Compendium season is unkind to everybody. So I figured we can use this time to talk about it again. So yes, so the last week, Nightmare in Smashville is the next big 2GG event happening on the 20th of October, which I found out is a Sunday, by the way. Very strange. Interesting stuff.
Where is it?
It's in California.
Yeah, but like where? There's been some weird 2GG venues recently. That's why I'm asking.
La Miranda. I don't know where that is exactly in California. I think it's in Long Beach. I'm not totally sure. It's wherever MSM is, and we're like the last
at least so they've had events there before. Okay.
Yeah. So so basically the theme of the compendium this time around is that they're flying out villains or anti-heroes, I guess, for spooky
characters.
Yeah, very spooky. Wolf is incredibly terrifying, and if we're talking spooky, Wii Fit Trainer should have been on that fucking compendium.
Honestly,
man. That character is a fucking nightmare to look at.
Yeah, agreed.
Wii Fit Trainer is literally horrifying, but yeah. So local Wolf main and 513th place at Super Smash Con, Jackal was.
Why'd you do him like that? Holy shit, Koopa.
Because he's my son, and I can do whatever the fuck I want. Regardless. Yeah, so Jackal ended up being nominated, going up against Streaks, who is, I believe, a Wolfmate from the UK. And then, one thing led to another. Jackal is in the lead. And then came the god known as PG Stimpy, otherwise known as the kid from Ender's Game, otherwise known as Asa Butterfield, actor and, active Smash. He definitely keeps an ear close to the Smash scene, compared to, like, I'd say other, like, people in famous, ability. Look at the IDBM page. Like,
he's got it, man. And one thing I want to note before you go on is I'm just looking at the total number of votes on these polls, which, by the way, Twitter polls as the determining factor of whether you get flights. I get it, and I'm also kind of like at the same time. Like you're seeing nearly 7,000 votes, 4,000 votes on another, 5,000 votes, 16,000 votes. And basically all it took was Streak saying, "Hey guys, vote for me, fan base that knows nothing about Smash but has seen me in Ender's Game." And Jackal's like, "Yo, I put my heart and soul into this community. I've made it really far. I'm probably PGR ranking." And he kept it close. I mean, that's pretty impressive, man. 52% to 48 to someone who's like just starting an acting career, which it's kind of funny that like someone with like like no shade. I mean, you're talking about like a C tier actor, basically someone who's just starting with like a massive fan.
I think he's
is he higher than that? Or, like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna front.
All right, let me read through the ID.
Yeah, I got it up. Let's see here. Okay,
Game.
He's got a bigger list of movies than I thought, even if I haven't heard of all of them.
Journey's End, The Space Between Us. Also, he has a TV show on Netflix, which I heard is really good. Sex Education. So
okay,
I've seen it. It's pretty good. Yeah, so he's famous. Like he's definitely like famous. So he's got a huge following of normies, but like that's no fault of his own. Like if he wants to like engage and in Super Smash Bros. Activity, like who are we to blame him for that? As
It's
Jesus
just
Christ.
so
Yeah, like
funny,
it's
man.
yeah, like here's the thing. So Compendium season is upon us once again, and I fucking hate Compendium
It's
season.
cancer.
Literally, it brings out the worst in people. And like, here's the thing. I had a really good discussion about this because I saw a lot of people throwing a lot of shade at Asa Butterfield. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If he somehow finds this podcast,
Hello.
big fan. Follow me on Twitter, please.
I guess same.
Yeah.
Even though I
Yeah,
just
but
learned who
like,
you are.
there we go.
Big
Yeah,
fan.
like it's like people are throwing shade. Like I know a couple of local people are just like, yo, man, like fuck the clout god, like he doesn't know shit about Smash. I'm just like, bro, like what he like I use a pretty like not a very good 1-to-1, but like it's the same thing as when a top player nominates a player from your scene. Just like with more normies. Like more anime, more K-pop stan profile pictures and anime pictures. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's yeah, I know it's terrifying, but like it sucks, man. Like, yes, like look, his following is fucking massive, but like
I just want to get Jackal. I gotta get Jackal's. How many followers does Jackal have?
not enough.
Yeah, I mean that's not even bad. And then you just see like times, Jesus Christ.
He's got like 1/16 of his follower account. But like, yeah,
Anyways,
it look, it sucks to see. And even Asa Butterfield was like, yo, like I feel bad trying to like swing my weight like that, but like, I gotta support my boy. And he even donated to the eventual GoFundMe, which got funded in 15 minutes.
yeah,
mind you.
he threw $50. I thought the whole dynamic was interesting because I was like, I kind of thought the idea of Compendium is to help players get out who maybe couldn't afford it or deserves it. And I'm just thinking like, okay, you have an actor who's probably doing pretty well pocket wise, and you have like a little poor boy in high school in New Jersey just trying to like prove himself. I'm just like, okay, why can't you just invite Asa and just be like, yo, come to our tournament, and then just like actually fund. I don't know. It's yeah. That's all I got. No
Yeah,
shade
like,
at anyone.
Yeah, like obviously, like here's the thing. And number one, getting on the Compendium doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're gonna get funded anyway. Like I've seen plenty of people blow their load on the Compendium just to get on it, only to be sitting there rotting in hell at 5% funded with like 2 days left to go.
That's
like,
true.
That's a big point I wanted to hammer home for people. It's like number one, like continue to vote for Jackal because obviously like the votes at that time still mattered, and if you look at the percentage like at how he won by, it was still pretty close. But number two, like, don't throw shade at somebody for wanting to help out their boy because we're literally doing the same thing. We just don't, we're just not actors. We're fucking normal people, at least for our standards. So like, and like we even talked about behind the scenes, myself and Chris, for transparency's sake, of like, oh, like let's do a GoFundMe for Jackal, because I said that like, if crowdfunding is also like an option. Like the Compendium doesn't have to be the end all be all. But Mr. R beat us in a punch, and by the time it took me to get from work to home, that shit was already funded. So good on Jackal. Like he's gonna get there and get a chance.
Yeah, he's long funded already. Is the funny part.
Like I just feel like yeah, go you go. I'm off my soapbox. I'm good.
Koopa, you brought up a really good point, and I feel like I bring this up to like a room of nobody every single time it becomes Summit o'clock, or in this case, I guess 2GG time.
2GG time.
Compendiums are just GoFundMes with extra steps. Why don't we just fund the lads and lasses ourselves?
Yes.
We all have money. Mm-hmm. At least one of us has a legal functioning bank account. Someone's able to make a GoFundMe account. Hey, listen, I said one of us. I didn't say who it was.
Hey.
But, like, this is something we could do, and this is something that every community can do regardless of size. Because you know that every region's going to have that unsung hero that's going to get eclipsed. Like, what would happen? Like, under normal context, Europe is like a speck in the room when it comes to Smash, and it's really unfortunate because Europe's pretty big. Going back to our Lions versus Pokemon debate, it's almost the setting for the Lions versus Pokemon battle.
I think it's got to be, man. Big piece of land there.
That's a lot of land.
A lot of room for activities, yeah.
They don't get a lot of eyes, and because of that, they're going to struggle. It's just natural. And the same can be said about other regions. Say, for instance, some of our friends down south with the Carolinas and Georgia, or some of the flyover states in the Midwest. Like, it takes a hell of a rallying call for them just to be heard at all.
Sure.
But like, if everyone organized the effort under just a GoFundMe, and you had every member of the community put, $3 here, $5 there, someone's fortunate enough to just toss 20 or 50, that all adds up to like a relatively all right flight and a couple of days in a hotel.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Like I was gonna say, like this is why for the longest time New England was undefeated around Compendium time. Like New England, whether it be for Melee or for Ultimate outside of the last Ultimate Summit, like they always got the representative into the big dance. Like they were so good at organizing the crowdfunding and being so willing to send, their players, to where they have the chance to compete and stuff like that. And I don't think enough people do that because I think the big thing that comes up is that, like it's always uncomfortable asking people for money, especially a group of people that are notorious for never having money.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's one thing, it's just like, yeah, bro, like hey, I'll tweet your name out, but like I don't know, man, this gas money ain't gonna pay for itself. So like I got you when my paycheck comes in, which is never. So like I feel like when it always comes to like playing with other people's money, you run the risk of just like falling flat on your face. But like I was obviously willing to donate to Jackal until the fucking sky fell out and like everybody donated before I got a chance to do anything. So like, I do feel like people look at the compendiums as like these save alls, but like it's sort of like the mini boss before the final boss because like Jackal could have gotten on there, but like I'm sure he would have gotten funded regardless. But like, who is to say that he couldn't have like like he could have sat there for a while. He could have been sweating it out like a lot. So like the compendium could be like your saving grace, or it could be purgatory forever. Like it hurts my heart seeing like these really good players just sitting there at like 0% funded or like 1% funded. Like if you want to get your boy into the big dance, you got to rally behind him yourself. Because like you said, we're able now. We have money. We're not caving. We have technology. Like we can. It's things that are like feasible. So I hope to see like that becomes like an option like later. Like it's maybe whatever for Congo Saga, instead of like us like forcing James to opt into a compendium, we're just like, yo man, you want to go? And it'll just be like, nah, fuck Diddy.
That is the way it needs to go, by the way.
Yeah,
The
or
thing
he'll
you
just be like,
said.
nah, fuck Diddy Kong, kiss me, or like something stupid.
Sounds like James. Wait,
Very
is that
much.
you, James? No.
Gotta go.
No. So this brings up a point for me because basically, like you have at the top of like Smash content, you have VG Bootcamp, or not content, mostly influence. You have VG Bootcamp, and then you have like individual players, and then you have basically like 2GG, I guess, is up there. Maybe not as prominent as they were in Smash 4, but they still do pretty well. And the idea is mostly to help get people attention. As you mentioned, you can go on the compendium and never get funded, but maybe win the popularity contest as a Twitter poll, and whatever. But yeah, you could also just be like, yeah, I should be going here. I'm trying to prove myself. But the weird thing about Nightmare and Smashville, I'm not even considering this is going to be a PGR tier event. Because I'm looking at the entrant lists, and there's like, I don't see any PGR players, and the compendium doesn't have any real PGR players. The closest thing they had was Jackal, who debatably is at least at Area 51 at this point, for the next season, and he didn't even make it in via compendium because you got PG Stimpy, aka Asa Butterfly Fields, Asa Butterfield. I'm sorry, man. I didn't know who he was. I'm sorry. He doesn't know who I am either. It's okay. So, anyways,
Your boomer showing, Chris.
you know what, man? I'm proud to be a boomer. Actually, I'm not. I'm not a boomer. Don't call me that. I'm just joking. But anyways, yeah, I don't see any PGR players. Is all I was getting at. So I'm just not even sure. So it makes me think about the system because, like, I think what's Thunder Gaming SoCal also, right? Are they? Wait, hold on. Maybe I lost you guys. Hold on.
SoCal still.
Yeah, I think I lost you guys for a second. But anyways,
okay.
I'm back. Yeah. So what I was saying is, right. So I don't see any PGR players on this list at all. And I'm just curious if it really attracts this particular tournament. So does this immediately, like, I don't know, is there still like a raw entrant count that you have to become PGR anymore? Like, I don't even know. I don't know the rules.
Yeah, anyone can get PGR'd without PGR players. It's just, it takes a lot of effort.
Yes.
I guess we'll see because I mean this is like the big 2GG event coming up, and it's still got a month left, I guess. So there's that.
I feel like it's worth mentioning that not every event needs PGR, right? I mean, yes, there's so much value behind it, but it's not a necessity.
Sure.
I feel like a lot of people have forgotten that in the glitz and glamour that is the ultimate highlight.
So, but that's the thing, though, because it isn't the end all be all, and I totally agree with that. But like, if you're a player who's just like trying to, I guess make his name in the niche that's the Smash community, like you're probably gonna save your dollars and your piggy bank for the events that you could potentially do that at. So I don't know. It definitely does dictate a lot of like attention and efforts. I don't know. I think the whole thing is interesting. I'm gonna be really interested in seeing how this whole event plays out and all of that.
Yeah, like it's gonna get interesting. Like I just think that compendiums bring out the worst in people, and I hate it even because like it's like at the end of the day, it's a popularity contest, and like people can't be mad when people of power want to like throw around their number count for stuff like that. Like it just really brings out the ugly in people. Like I don't like it, and I hope that people can learn like okay, it's like there's better ways of going about this than like literally fighting to the death like for a spot to maybe have people pay for me to get in. And all in all, I'm happy it worked out for Jackal.
Yeah,
He
that's
deserves it
good.
because he
He's
deserves to be there.
agreed.
So now, next we just gotta work on. Let's see where if we can beat the top player to the GoFundMe this time.
Yeah, dude, literally, Kuva, you and I were talking about it, and then I messaged Jackal, said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna make you a GoFundMe page via MHG. Would you be comfortable with that?" And he goes, "Oh, Mr. already made it." And I was like, "Oh." And then like literally 30 minutes later, he's funded, and I was like, "Well, that was probably for the best, anyways." So at least
Yeah,
you're
shout
done.
out to Mr. R.
Yeah, that was pretty
honestly.
nice.
Big hope.
But
Yeah,
yeah, man,
so-
I don't know. Yeah, 2GG compendiums. That's them in a nutshell.
Yeah, not even just 2GG, but like compendiums in general, like relatively like underwhelming sometimes. Like I don't know. That's how I feel. If we're gonna talk, like, I generally don't care about compendiums unless it's like people that I care about that are involved. Like, I think I donated like $100 in general to Glenn's cause when he was going out the Hyrule Saga. So like, I don't know how you guys feel about the whole concept.
I think
Were you guys around for way back in the day when there was a tournament that had a compendium to fly Mango out? This was a melee tournament.
Really?
But like, yeah, this was like a while ago. I feel like there's like an era of Smash GG that people have just agreed to forget. And I feel bad because Smash GG used to have this really weird culture about it. Like, when like the compendiums were first starting to be a thing, and tournaments were trying to use them just to assist in their funding, which, you know, it's not a bad way to use a tool. But like, people started getting really pissy because Mango is, well, Mango, and doesn't struggle to fly to place.
Yes.
So there's like a big debate as to how compendiums should even be used, if they should be used this way, this, that, and the other, and then nothing happened.
I know it kind of just
And I feel like
reminds.
it's such a bizarre situation that I feel like no one ever talks about in the context of compendium. Or
I
and
had
one of
no
my
idea.
favorites is when Riot Lettuce from Florida was flown to
Smash
I
Con.
think it was this, yeah, the Smash Con where he DQ'd
Yes.
out of round one of losers, and a lot of people were livid because he had beaten other people's chance that people felt that someone else deserved, and he got funded and he flew out. From what I understand, he enjoyed the event, but not the tournament.
That's funny.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's just like an awkward like line to walk because like I don't know how people like I know for theme tournaments it's a little bit easier and I just wish 2G would stop using fucking straw poll.
Yeah,
Like
come
straw
on,
poll
bro.
fucking sucks. Like Jesus Christ, there's got to be a better
Well,
alternative.
here's the problem, right? So like you have Asa Butterfield, who is basically he's gonna fly there and he's gonna probably win a couple sets and then he's gonna go out. And then like you have that versus like a legitimate Jackal, especially with the current people going, easy top 8 in my opinion. I might be a little biased here, but like I don't know, dude's gotten now, you know, what was he, 9th place just at Glitch and at Shine. I mean, it's come on. So it goes from flying out the best players and the best entertainment to Geez, we're the Smash community. We need more attention. Give us a popular name, please. If you're getting voted for, maybe we'll get more viewership. And it just kind of reminds me how segmented the community really is. And it makes me wonder, I'm like, okay, so at what point does the community come together, have some unified stats to which people could look at objectively and say, like, okay, this person should go there because it's going to make for a better tournament, a little bit more competitive and a little bit more fun to watch, versus, like, fly me out a PGR player or fly me out an actor or whatever. Like, it's just like, it just really does make me feel like everything's
well,
really
also
segmented.
like I think we've been like lost in translation. Like Asa Butterfield wasn't a one on the compendium; it was somebody else. So like, I don't know if we've been like if we translated that properly or not. But like, the player in question, like the player in question was his name was like Streaks or something. He's from the UK.
Yeah,
or something.
Well, regardless,
with a Z.
Yeah, like regardless, like I do think compendiums are important for players like that because like players like from there's a King K rule on the Thunder compendium by the name of Ben Gold, who I know is like a big deal in that part of the country, and like players like that like definitely need all the help they can get from these sort of like crowdfunding like sort of things. Because like flights out of to anywhere out of those parts of the world are fucking terrible. So like and like the UK definitely benefits from stuff like that. Europe, like Australia, like all these sort of different countries, like it makes sense. I do think that it's a fine line you walk because like obviously there's players like Jackal or like even Leon who are like unsponsored and don't really have the money or like the fundage.
Jackal's sponsored now. Funny.
Well, now he is. Yeah, shout out to Jackal for getting on that young. Now he has to wear that young motocross jersey at every tournament he goes.
It'll be appropriate, man. It's Halloween colors, so it'll be
holy shit.
It'll be the perfect. It'll be the perfect jersey. Shout out to Illusion Gaming, which is formerly GT, the shitter young kids of the Smash community in New Jersey. Plus
man.
juice.
Yeah, let's go. Big fan. And don't forget King Kamina.
Oh yeah, that's true. Good point.
Leader of the Goons, my man. Big fan.
That's my
also
son.
Big fan.
Yes, that's my son.
Someone in this world has to claim him, and I will be the one to do it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
He's a good boy, man.
Yeah. Regardless, like I agree. There's like a fine line to walk with these compendiums. Like obviously good on streaks. Like I hope he truly does well. Like the problem you run into with like compendium stuff is that sometimes not everybody does well. Some people shit the bed, but alas, it's the price to pay for being a character specialist in a world of Palatine and neutral air. But shit's bound to happen.
You are not about to give benefit of the doubt to a wolf mate. Hold the fuck up. We're not talking about if someone is a plant main or the K rules that will get flown out. A wolf. Motherfuckers are talking like this character was number 1 for a time. It took the meta shifting around him for him to drop down to like top 15.
Everyone learned the matchup.
Just saying, man. I played Wolf in Squad Strike this weekend. I played Wolf in literally 0 games of Smash Ultimate Bracket. So that character is fucking drugs. But I digress. Good stuff on Jackal. I hope the compendium system gets tweaked. Needless to say, though, I definitely did. If we're gonna, I'm gonna end on a funny story. The first time I donated to the Hyrule Saga compendium, I actually donated. Did you guys hear that?
Oh yeah, you actually donated to. You cut out like right
after.
So
I actually I donated. I donated to the wrong compendium goal.
No.
I was supposed to donate to Glenn. I accidentally donated to the Rivals of Aces.
That's hype!
You did a good thing.
I was like, why did my $100 donation not go through? I'm like, fuck.
That's
sorry, Glenn. Regardless, he still got there, and I definitely donated to the Glitch compendium because some of that swag looked real nice. Just gonna say it out loud. Like the Glitch merchandise was high key, really good. But yeah, so hopefully Jackal does well at Nightmare on Smashville, and I'm sure he will. Like I just need Jackal in the PGR so I can see that. I can just look at that elephant in the room that is Super Smash Con and just be like, yeah, that's that. Let's go. Like, look at the glow up.
Yeah, dude, that's what we do around here, man. People just glow up. That's what I was saying. That's the nice part. That's why it's like I'm very pro region, just natural growth.
The rise of Illusions, Africa, Jackal.
Oh God.
Can't wait.
Just picture, and Africa and Jackal are both still spelled wrong. Anyway, so that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this week. So we were back for a week hiatus, and things have been kind of crazy. Chris has had visitors from another country. I've been driving like a fucking madman all over the tri-state area. It took me. I mean, I never want. Speaking of Jackal, I never want to drive in that neck of Jersey ever again. It was like driving through a fucking like Silent Hill level. It was fucking terrifying. That area of New Jersey is scary.
Which area is this?
He lives in Bayville, which is by like Tom's River.
Oh, it is kind of weird there.
Dude,
I'll give
like
you that.
there's no fucking lights. The fog was thick as fuck. Like, dude, it was fucking scary.
Nightmare on Smashville.
Is it anywhere near Waterbury, New Jersey?
God, I hope not. Yeah, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of time at Glitch. Jackal has definitely moved up the ranks as like a top tier like co-pilot, and Frozen is invited back in my car anytime. He makes a fine lad to drive with. It was quite fun.
He just
and
seems like a nice guy. Oh, you had Biddy too?
Oh yeah, it was a great carpool. Everybody was awesome. So
good stuff.
So that's gonna be it for this week. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe as we upload these every week, as well as take a look at the varying Twitter tournaments that we have scrolling throughout the docket. We have tournaments every week, and things are only going to start heating up because obviously we have Battle for the East happening in about 2 weeks.
That opens up season 4, by the way.
Yeah. Oh fuck, we gotta get the power ranking.
Yeah, I hope you're ready for that.
PR season, boys.
Yeah, if you're finally, I was looking for an excuse to drink. Yeah, so you can check all that out if you want to check up what I'm doing. You can follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ. I will be at Overclocked this coming weekend. That should be fun. Fun times are always had at Chavo Towers. And then I'll be at Battle for the East, and then I'll be at All Fuck All for the rest of the year because I'm trying to stay home and save money because I'm going to a lot of shit in January. So yeah, thankfully there's plenty of fruitful tournaments for me to attend this year. So let's go to the man in the car with the deepest lore on the podcast. Well, what do you got?
Aside from the usual follows on social media, yada yada, I will be at Xenosaga this weekend, as I have yet to see the new Xeno venue, and I'm dying to see my brothers and sisters in the city because I truly love the city scene. Besides that, you can also catch me at Battle of the East to some capacity, as well as Return to Yoshi's Island. Now announced, now I will be shilling until my bones run dry. I cannot wait for the exciting sequel to the event that everyone loves that it exists.
That trailer was so fucking
That
funny,
trailer is really
way.
good, yeah.
That out of context like picture of Suarez like wearing a sombrero and sunglasses is so fucking funny.
That sombrero is a very powerful tri-state relic.
Dude, I love
you have to you get energy wearing it.
Dude,
it is pretty powerful.
I like how you guys got the flex a little bit of acting, man. Seeing T-Mags, he's like, the illusion is that you have control, and I was like, this is hysterical, man. It's really good. The only thing I didn't like is that it falls on the same day as a Platinum Star, but I might see about if I could reschedule that. Just so we get some people there.
We'll make it work, and I will do my best Jeff Goldblum impression on commentary. Except I'll have to keep my shirt closed, otherwise Trevor will be very mad.
I'm trying to see if we can just find Jeff Goldblum. He's somewhere in New York. We will find him.
He is. He's somewhere.
I need Jeff Goldblum's nice back air.
No, you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to do what the Muppets did to Jack Black and just kidnap him and force him to commentate Super Smash Brothers.
Yes, this seems very legal. I will do this thing.
Oh boy. What about you? So we have Frank in the car, and now we also have Boomer ZX. So
it's gonna stick.
Down the deep lore of the podcast. So what about you, Chris? Where can the people find you?
Yeah, find me at CSantoZX. I've been a little bit more active these days, I'll have you know. A little bit less of a boomer, a little bit more of a trendy. I'll send a tweet every couple days. I got some nice retweets. Eventually, I'll find my footing in terms of things I like to talk about. But yeah, you can find me there. Definitely follow Master Hand Gaming on Twitter. That's at Master Hand Games. Full disclosure, I'm actually working pretty hard on trying to do basically trying to do a better job representing the players in this area and the things that they're doing. And I've been using the Twitter a little bit as a platform into that recently. So if you're looking for news about players like Jackal, about players like Wishes, obviously Rivers, Koopa, pretty much everything that goes on around here, people that kind of come across our broadcasts and our tournaments, you better believe we're trying to get the word out about the things happening around here. So follow Master Hand Games if you're interested in that. Aside from that, obviously, follow, subscribe to the YouTube page. If you like this podcast, make sure you share it with a buddy. Click the thumbs up. Definitely helps a lot with viewership. But that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, anyway, you guys can listen to these podcasts on YouTube and SoundCloud. So, depending on what you choose to listen to, we'll have that. We'll definitely have more to talk about next week. Obviously, as we transition into the fall, we barely talked about let's make big moves, so we can talk about that as that it gives us more content. It gives us more content to talk about. And every week we do this, it's just 1 week closer to Terry Bogard, and that's definitely gonna get me going. So
that's a boomer
We will
character.
all ask the
Just
immortal
beware.
question: are you okay?
no, the answer is never.
Yeah, very excited for Terry, man.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So I'm sure we'll have more to talk about and more next week. So hope you guys have been enjoying us. And like we said, we're gonna keep doing this until they shut our internet off. So the most non-professional podcast on the internet, we bid you a good night.
Deuces.
Peace.